Hello. Today's video I'm going to be looking at foiling onto ribbon. Now, foiling onto ribbon really isn't any different to foiling onto card, except you might need to adjust your pressure, and there are some techniques for getting the ribbon and the foil to sit still while you foil everything that can make life a lot easier. So that's what I'm going to cover today. I've got some nice wide ribbon here to foil onto, a nice big sentiment, and I've got some narrow, this is navy blue ribbon that I'm going to foil some snowflakes onto. I think that would look rather nice on a Christmas card. And in fact, all these are Christmas themed. It just happens to be the foil stamps I picked out of my collection. Anything will work. And in fact, you don't have to foil a whole foil stamp. If you just want some sort of patination on your ribbon, you can just use a bigger foil stamp and foil parts of it. So there's lots of things you can do, but I want to keep this video relatively short, and that's a big thing for me because I don't tend to do short videos. Right, so I've got some foil. These happen to be Couture Creations foils, but you could be doing this with a Glimmer or a Gemini Foilpress and using the foils that work with those machines or with other brands of foil. So long as it's foil for hot foil stamping and compatible, that's fine. And I've got for my foil stamps, I've got a Spellbinders one, I've got a Crafter's Companion Gemini one, and I've got one of the value brands that are available on Amazon. This is from a company called Global Land that sell on Amazon in the UK, and their foil stamps tend to be a bit thinner than other brands, but they still seem to work. You have to be a bit careful with getting the pressure right. You need an extra shim because they're thinner, but not too much extra pressure because they're not deeply etched. There's a chance of getting foil where you don't want it. So we'll be looking at those. I think I'm going to do this one first. Okay, so I'm going to do a nice chunky piece of ribbon. Now I've got here a couple of pieces of, this is 300 GSM cards, so nice thick, the sort of cards you'd use for your card blanks rather than your toppers. I'm not sure what it works out at in American measurements because they measure theirs in pound, but it's a heavier weight card but still suitable for die cutting. So that's what I've got, and on this one I've drawn a line. I don't know if that will show up on the camera very well. There we are. I've drawn a line 1 centimetre from the edge. It could be ½ an inch from the edge, but I've done it the same distance on both sides, and that's to help me get things lined up. Okay, now I video from the side, and it's because I can then see what I'm videoing while I'm doing it. I've tried doing overhead and it doesn't work for me because I can't see what I'm doing, and I haven't got anyone here to help me and tell me what I've got on camera. So I'm going to take my nice cream ribbon, and I don't know what card I'm going to put this on yet or what direction it's going to go in, so I'm going to do my foiling kind of in the middle of it but have extra, and I've got kind of a crease in the ribbon there, so I'm going to probably yeah, that'll probably be fine. So make sure you're using scissors that aren't sticky and nice and sharp, and as I cut a good length. So I'm going to lose that bit that's got the crease in it because I've got plenty. There, so I'm going to go, so a couple of inches, maybe 5 or 6 centimetres hanging over the ends of my piece of card that I've cut. Okay, this is not the finished length of my card. And before I do anything else, I'm going to put the GoPress and foil on so it warms up. Okay, so I'm going to lay that along my card, and I'm going to wrap the ends over, and then I'm going to make sure that these ends line up with the line I've drawn, and I'm going to tape the ends in place. Nice big bit of piece of masking tape. Now I'm using a good quality decorators masking tape, and it's specified for delicate surfaces. So, because you want it to have enough hold to make sure the ribbon stays in place. And I'm going to put another piece as well. So it's got to hold the ribbon in place but be peelable as well. So, and that's to do with the quality of the glue. And there we are. So if I now pull that tight, it'll pull it up against the line on the other side. Now that doesn't particularly matter for the foiling I'm doing now, but if I was doing repeat foiling, I would need to be able to get my ribbon lined up again in the same place. So we'll look at that in a little while, but that's why I've got the line, and it just lets me make sure I've got the ribbon straight. Okay, so there's my piece of ribbon attached to my piece of card. So now it doesn't flop around and lift and twist and all those awkward things. Okay, I don't think I've got it quite lined up at that end. I'm going to reposition it at this end. It doesn't look to be quite lined up. You can see that's peeling off my ribbon. It's not harming it in any way or leaving any sticky mess. So as I say, it does need to be repositionable. So I'm just going to bring it tight up against the line. And this is also why you need some heavier card, because you need to be able to put some tension on the ribbon to make sure it's sitting flat. That's better. So now it's lined up with the line. Okay. So now I need to decide where I'm going to put my foil stamp. So I'm going to put it across the middle of this, and assume I'm going to slap this piece of ribbon across a nice card that's perhaps got an embossed background or something like that, and this is really going to be the main feature. So I'm going to position it. I'm going to take the type of magnet you use with a stamp press. You can buy them separately, and in fact we get one from down here. If you can get this sort that are in a holder, even better. So if you have a look on somewhere like Amazon for stamp press magnets, you should see that sort come up as an option. Yeah, and then I can just adjust my foil stamp, and it doesn't fall off when I turn it upside down. Okay, so now I need to put this onto my GoPress Foil. And these are just the normal ones that I've wrapped in some masking tape. So normally I leave my GoPress Foil on the platform while I do this and just lean over it. But for the camera, I'm pulling it off. Oops. See, it still hasn't moved, even though I've nearly knocked it on the floor. So here's my foiling platform. Now they all have plastic edge around the outside, and it might get warm, but it doesn't get hot, not like the middle does. So I'm going to put this on here. I'm going to decide, now I think they've all got measurements around the edge as well, so I use one of the measurement lines to line up my piece of card with, so that if I need to take it off and put it back again, then it's going to go back in the same place. And then I'm going to take another piece of tape and tape that down, and then I'm going to stick a finger in the middle. Now if it's getting hot, grab another piece of card or something and just put your finger down, take your magnet off. Okay, I've just put that out the way, and then I am going to put this back to finish warming up, but I'm going to close the lid just while I move it. Let me turn the camera so you can see my GoPress and foil over there. Now I'm going to just flip my card out of the way because I don't want to heat up my card and ribbon while I'm heating my foil stamp. But while I'm waiting, I'm going to cut some foil. So, as I say, I'm using, say, these are Couture Creations foils, but whatever works with your machine. It doesn't have to be anything special just because I'm foiling ribbon. Just for the colours I wanted to use, this was the logical choice. So, I'm going to cut a piece of foil. Now I should have checked what length I wanted. Let me just have a look. Oh, that's convenient. That foil stamp is just under 12 centimetres wide, which happens to be the same as the foil. So I'm just going to cut a piece off. And I think that should be wide enough because it's just a little bit wider than the ribbon. Okay, so I'm just waiting for that to get warm. I think that probably is warm now. Okay, so the question is, how much pressure do I need? Now, I'm not going to need, I don't think, any more than one shim. So, now, my card shims are quite often failed pieces of foiling or bits of card I've had left over. And they end up with bits of foil and things on them, and I just keep reusing them. Okay, so let's turn the camera so you can see what I'm doing. So now, this is here. I can put my foil on. I can put my piece of card down. Nothing is flapping around. Put one shim on. And then I'm going to roll it through my, I decided it needs to heat again, so I'll just let it warm up. And then I'm using Sizzix Big Shot, well, whatever die cutting machine you normally use with your foiling platform, that's fine. I just need to make sure this is at the right temperature. Always seems to take ages when the camera's on. Right, so there we go. Green light came back on. Take my shim off, flip my card back. Right, that looks like it's foiled. You can see the indents. Yes, there we are. Now take that off of there, and let me just undo all this. So whilst I don't send these out live as I'm making them, I do pretty much film live without editing. So there will be times where you have to wait. If it's going to be a long wait, I will sometimes pause the camera and then just stitch the bits of video back together afterwards. Because on the whole, you see everything as it happens, as it was happening when I made the video. So that's one end. And obviously I'm peeling quite carefully. I don't want to crumple the ribbon. There we are. So I use frog tape for delicate surfaces. That's what the tape is. And there's my foiling, and that's come out absolutely nearly perfectly. There's a bit that looks like it's over foiling just down there on the S. I'm going to zoom in on that and put it over the piece of card over it so you can, the camera picks it up. Try and get it in the right place. So can you see, I'll zoom in a bit more and get the camera to focus. On the bottom of the S there, there's a little bit of overfoiling. So, at least it looks like it's overfoiled. I'm going to get a brush. Camera back to normal. Right, so it's a cheap paintbrush from actually a children's set of paintbrushes. Yeah, it's just a soft, quite large brush. Paintbrush would do if you've got a clean one. So I'm just going to brush this, and as I suspected, that foil wasn't actually really attached to the ribbon, and it has just brushed away. I'm going to focus on it. There we go. So there we are, that's gone. That just brushed away. So, number one, success. It's where I wanted it. Things didn't move, it wasn't a struggle. Just a little bit of preparation beforehand. So let's get, I'm going to get that foil stamp off. Okay, and then I'm going to do some repeat foiling. Now I'm in two minds which ribbon to do this on. I've done gold on there, I was going to do red on there, never mind. So I've also got, let's use this one again and do some repeat foiling. So again, I want a piece of ribbon, and I'm going to stick it down to my card. And stick the other edge first. That's because that's the one I need to make sure is straight first. So, a bit more of an overlap. And if I get my ribbon kind of straight on the back, then it'll come straight here. No, that isn't. I often find these things move as I tape them. I'm trying to do this so you can see it, and it's making it difficult, so I'm going to have to move. Okay, I'm afraid my fingers are going to be in the way while I'm sticking this piece of tape down. There we are. And the other end. As you can see, I'm just reusing my bits of tape. I do find I can reuse them a few times before they seem to have lost enough stick that they don't hold well enough. There we are. No, that's slightly wonky, and it's this end that's wonky. That's better. Okay, so got that. I'm going to use Noel, but I'm going to foil it several times. Okay, so what I need to do is mark off kind of where it begins and where it ends on the piece of ribbon. Because what I'm going to do is, rather than move the foil stamp, I'm going to move the ribbon. So I will want these to be in line as I move the ribbon, which is why I've got the white line there. Yeah, because then when I move the ribbon I can make sure it's exactly the same distance across the card. So let's assume I want it there. I'm going to take my ruler and put some marks on my card where my foil stamp begins and ends, and actually it can help me get it straight as well. There we are. So just some pencil lines. There. And at the other end, I'm going to turn this round. So I can see where it begins and ends. And maybe I'll just mark out how much gap I want. So I will want a little gap between the words. And let's just go there. Right, so I've done that. I'll get my magnet and put it on the back. Okay, I'm going to make sure I haven't moved my foil stamp. And then I can put that on the GoPress and foil. So, for quickness this time, I'm just going to turn this, put my piece of card down, and tape it in place. And it's really important this time that I note where that corner is. And if necessary, if you can't see the measurements or they're not clear, put a pencil line on the plastic. It won't hurt. Alright, and then I can flick that out the way so it doesn't get too hot. Okay, I think I'll have some red foil this time. And I'm just going to again check how long my foil stamp is. It's about 7 centimetres long. Okay, so I'm going to be foiling this multiple times. So I'm not going to get thinking about using foil efficiently. So the foil rolls like this are 12 centimetres wide, which means I can't do 2 lengthways out for a piece of this. So what I want to do instead is cut a piece about 7 centimetres, and actually, as it happens, I know I cut my card to 7.5, so I'm going to use that to measure. I'm going to cut the piece. That's that length. So I'm just folding them against the edge of the card there to give me a line to cut on. And I find the best way to cut foil straight is with a nice big pair of scissors, as long as they're nice and sharp. Yes, I've got that. Oh, and then does it measure the other way? Right way round. Next one. It's only 2 centimetres the other way. So lots of scope. So if I cut this at about 3. I'm cutting several pieces of foil. Well, that was interesting. The camera turned itself off. I think it decided it hadn't got enough space. So, picking up where we left off, my foil stamp, while I've been making space on my phone, has heated up nicely. I've cut my pieces of foil. So now we can actually start foiling. So I'm going to turn this for a second. So this is where it gets tricky because I'm using little pieces of foil, and if you're not careful they curl up and they jump around. So that onto there. I'm going to put my shim on and roll it. Flip that. Take off my foil. Well, that's pretty. Right, now I need to move my ribbon so that I've got the next section ready to foil. So, let's make a bit of space. I'll move my bits of foil out of the way. Okay, take this off. I'm going to close the lid or put a plate over the top just to make sure the foil stamp stays nice and warm. Okay, and then I need to take the tape off. So another reason you need some good quality tape, because you don't want tape that's going to leave sticky residue that you're going to have to then keep repositioning. Right. So, taking the tape off, there's number 1 foiled. Okay, so now I'm going to move this up, and actually I'll put my space at the wrong end, but never mind. So now I can wrap that around, and it will end up with a very slight crease in it, but we can be gentle. And I'm probably only going to get 2 of these on this piece of card, but you'll get the idea. So over on the back, avoiding my foiling. So I don't want to put tape anywhere near my foiling. And then over on the front, because the ribbon isn't going to stay put, otherwise it's not going to wrap around. There we are. And then, because I've still lined up with my pencil line, when I put this on and foil again, I'll get a continuation. So this is quite quick. So I'm going to leave everything over here. Can you see that okay? Yeah, just got something, yeah. So, putting that back down in the same place and taping it down again. All I need to do is put another piece of foil on. As you see, the foil can want to curl and move. That's it. Put that down, put that on and roll. So, let's get rid of that piece of tape first. And there we are. Now I've got a little bit of overfoiling at the end here. But if I'm gentle, I can just brush that away. But do be gentle with your brushing. Okay, so continuous foiling all lined up. Okay, so I don't think there's any point in me repeating that with the other one because the video is just going to get far too long. But you get the idea. It's just a narrow foil stamp and a narrow ribbon, and that's how to make it easier to foil onto ribbon, because otherwise your ribbon wants to move, you can't keep it still, things end up wonky. It's even harder to keep still than card, so that will help you a lot if you just do a bit of preparation beforehand. Thank you for watching.